My biggest tip, if I can give anyone a tip, is when you first release on a small label, make sure to get the promo sheet with all the names that have give you, feedback, and then reach out to them.
Christian Nielsen is definitely no stranger to the music industry. He has released tracks on Mark Knight's Two Room Records, on Compact, on Pete Tong's FFRR label, and on Jesse Rose's Play It Down, just to mention a few. So I think it is a safe bet to say that he will be the next big thing out of Denmark. In today's conversation, we had a chat about how he balances a prosperous music career with a 9-to-5 job, a girlfriend, a son, and another one on the way. We talked about him recently signing with a management agency and what benefits this has had to him. We dove into his minimalist approach to producing music and how this has helped him to stay productive. Now, before we dive into this episode, I just want to let you know that this podcast is available via the NimSound YouTube and Facebook, and this particular episode would also be available via the Christian Nielsen official Facebook page. In audio format, this podcast is available via NimSound Spotify and NimSound iTunes podcast feed. So if you want to support the cause, feel free to write a review over at iTunes and subscribe and share this with a friend. It is really appreciated and it means a lot to us, as this will help us grow our audience and reach more people with our message. So thank you if you are doing that. Also, in about 2 weeks, we will release a blog post over at nimsound.com with this interview transcribed. We talked to Christian and made a deal with him in regards to answering your questions. So if you have a question for Christian, then feel free to write it in the comment section of this episode over on YouTube and on Facebook. And we will select the best ones and have Christian answer them. So, yeah, I think that's about it. A conversation with Christian Nielsen is coming up. You're listening to Nim Sounds Behind the Beat. My name is Kasper Stup, and this is the show that aspires to inspire electronic musicians to create music, to do better marketing, and gain an overall better understanding of how the music industry works. We talk to people who influence the scene and try to gain an insight into how they work and how they have succeeded. Hopefully, by the end of this show, you will have learned a few tricks of the trade that you can implement to help you gain success in your music career. This is Behind the Beat by Nim Sound. My name is Kasper Stup, and I bid you a very warm welcome. So from here on out, it will be English.
All right, then. Yeah. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah, I gotta admit I'm slightly nervous about this.
Really?
Yes, I am. Because it's like the first time I'm sitting in front of someone and having like to interview him. It's a whole other ordeal.
And in English too.
And in English, yeah, as well. So, yeah.
Let's give it a shot.
I remember, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You called me up one summer.
Sure.
And you had this whole idea about like doing a sort of behind the scenes of Christian Nielsen,
sure,
telling your story. And I remember you told me that nobody really like saw it coming with you having a music career.
No,
it was way more what, your brother?
Yes.
Yeah. So like my question is, how did you go and like become a musician with a promising career?
Sure. So if we go back to the beginning, in some way, I used to play lots of sports, like badminton. I was a badminton player, and I used to play from I was 9 until I was 19, I think, like 19 or 20. And it was tournaments every weekend. My life was focused around sports. And growing up, it was more my brother who used to play. He used to play the bass. I don't know if he doesn't play the bass anymore, but he used to be the musician in the family together with, and my dad used to play the drums a bit. So we always had instruments lying around the house, but it was my brother who was portrayed as the musician. It was never a subject mentioned me and being creative or have anything to do with music. I only think the only person who actually really realized I had any potential at all was my music teacher in school, in ground school, because I used to go down to the basement and play the drums. So I could hold a solid beat, and I could, do fills and everything. And nobody really realized that I could do this besides him. So he would always, every time there was like a big show at school or something like that, he would invite me to come and play for them, because at that time, nobody was really doing music. Nobody was playing the drums. So I would play for the 8th graders, and I was in 3rd grade. So he was the only one who was like always pushing me to do more music. I used to play piano when I was small, but it was an old lady who used to teach me. And she was like old. Like, she's still alive today, and she must be like 120 years old. She was freaking old. And she was really nice, but it was classical music, and I hated classical music at that time. Mm-hmm. You're 10 years old. You don't want to listen to Beethoven.
No. You
don't want to do that. You want to play something a bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
I remember a funny story. She called me once and said, when you come, I'm not going to be able to play with you. You have to just play, and I will sit next to you. She said, what happened? I broke both my arms. I said, what? She fell down the stairs. She was old. So she fell down the stairs. And when I came to her house for tutoring lessons, she had both arms in casts with metal rods sticking out. And she still wanted to teach me how to play piano. She was dedicated.
That is a dedicated woman, yeah, man.
And she also always she realized that I really liked playing, and I liked playing chords and stuff like that. So she was also like pushing me into that direction. But like family wise, and like through friends, it was always sports. And when I got older, it was more you have to go to the business school, do marketing. I was a big fan of like adverts and big campaigns and stuff like that. I would make my own mock-up campaigns. And the meanwhile, I was listening to music. I remember today I used to like make mixtapes from the radio with my cassette player, and I used to record like Basement Jacks, and then I would wait until the next song came on. I would record that, and nobody really knew I did this. And all the money I earned from like smaller jobs, I would go buy weird, obscure, albums.
Yeah.
Danish Bjørn Sveen. If you remember Bjørn.
Yeah.
I bought Bjørn Sveen when I was 13. Nobody told me about Bjørn Sveen or electronica.
No.
I just went to the store. I was like, okay, I want to listen to this. These guys at the music store, he knew. I was like, I want to hear something new. I would do this when I was 13 and 14 before I went to like badminton training. And nobody really realized that it was because I was digging the production. I was listening to the beats or the bass or how things were put together. I didn't know what compression was. I didn't know what mixing was or filtering, but it was something that was very natural for me to always listen to music in a different way than my peers. So I would always bring like weird shit to school. It's like, hey guys, check this out. And they would all look at me like I'm a fucking idiot. Like, what is this?
Yeah, I think that's fairly common for like the DJs I've talked to. They've always been like the odd one out.
Yeah.
In like the schoolyard being like listening to weird stuff and finding like this weird thing.
Exactly. But it was not because I didn't like pop music. To this day today, I love pop music. I can listen. I can appreciate good pop music. I can listen to a Spice Girls track and say, all right, I don't like what's going on, but I can, the production is really crisp here, and the drum production is amazing. I can appreciate that for what it is. I can appreciate listening to a Bruno Mars track and say, this is amazing. This is
it's good. It's good pop music.
It's good pop. It's well produced. It's the vocals are crisp in it.
Yeah.
So like growing up, it was never. I enjoyed music, and I was listening to music, and I, at school I would always try and become the DJ guy, put music on it when I was 13, and nobody ever stopped up and said, hey, maybe you should try and do something.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like I moved out from home, I moved into the city. And again, it was going to business school and trying to figure out what am I going to use all these theoretical stuff I was learning, all these financial theories? Like, wow, this is really interesting. And I honestly thought it was super boring because I used to work. I've worked since I was 15. I've always worked, trying to find jobs, trying to find ways to make money. That was my thing. So when I got into that age, I was working all kinds of odd jobs, sales on the phone. I was doing cleaning. I was doing everything I could to just get money.
Yeah.
For I didn't use it for anything. I bought stupid shit, but it was just the whole idea of making money. So everybody thought, go to the business school, get some theory. And I got a job at a nightclub called Lux at the time.
I remember Lux, yeah.
It was Montmartre, and then it became Lux afterwards. It was
I think I've been there like once when I were like not really supposed to be there.
There you go.
Underage.
There you go. And it was a mainstream club. And Morten Breum was playing there. Henrik Matisse was playing there at the time too. All these guys who were still in the scene. And I was a busboy. So I was, waiting tables and I loved it. I loved being in that scene and meeting people all the time. It was great. And I got a job next door there was a cocktail bar. And the guy there was making amazing cocktails. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that. And he looked at me and said, you know what? You're too small. All the bottles are too high up. You can't reach it. I said, all right, what can I do? I want to work here. I said, okay, you can go up to Tony. He's the DJ. We all know that you love music. You bring music yourself to put on before he comes. So might as well give it a shot.
Yeah.
I went up to him. He said, you know what? I'll take you in. I'll help you out, get DJing. And then everything, just took baby steps from there. I started DJing. And then my friend Robin, who's actually a professional wakeboarder today. He told me, like, if you want more gigs, you have to produce music. I said, okay, how do I do that? I said, I don't know. So I looked at my Mac computer. I had an old MacBook, these shitty ones, and there was GarageBand. And it started like pushing buttons, and I made some tracks. And that's pretty much how I got into it.
Like, when was this? Was this like how many years ago?
It must have been like 2007, 8?
2007? Yeah, all right.
Something like that.
So you've been producing music for...
Quite a while.
Yeah.
Quite a while. But I didn't release anything until like 2000 and, I don't know, 9, something like that. Maybe a bit later.
Yeah.
Do you
remember like getting signed, your first record?
Wow, that was, I was playing with on DVFM. There was like an online radio in Denmark. Lots of the DJs around here used to play on this online platform. And I was playing there, and I played some of my own tunes. And one of the guys in the chat room was like, "Hey, you got some dope tracks. Can I sign them?" I'm like, "Okay." I didn't, sure, fine. Yeah. And he just said, "Send me the tracks." And then he released it like a few months later. Some Colombian label. Never heard of it again. Never heard of it again.
But are they still out there?
They're somewhere out there under Chris Minus.
Under Chris Minus. Yeah, because you've gone under another moniker.
Yeah.
Under the Chris Minus moniker.
Yeah, that was for quite a number of years, yeah.
When did you change to Christian Nielsen, and like why?
I don't remember the exact time, but I signed some tracks to Jesse Rose's Play It Down. And then it went really well. So I was like, "Hey, Jesse, I want to be part of the label. I want to make more tunes." He was like, "All right, we can do that, but you have to change the name." I'm like, "Why?" Well, first of all, at that time, Minus, Richie Houghton's label, was pretty big. Yeah. So so everybody thought I was a part of the Minus label. And he was like, and then he asked me, like, are you playing anywhere under the Chris Minus name? Have you achieved anything with it? It's like, not anything besides local stuff. So, all right, give it a shot. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And then he released my tunes as Christian Nielsen, and it went really well. So I'm like, okay, let's just go for it. And that's it was his idea. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a go. Yeah. But some of the guys like from back then, they still call me Minus when they see me. They did, it was my persona. So it was me. So they still call, "Hey, Minus, what's up?" It's like, oh God, it's so weird. It's so weird to hear.
To hear now?
Yeah, it's weird.
Man, I remember Oliver told me, Oliver, the other half
dude
of Nim Sound, I remember he told me that that you played alongside Rune RK, aka better known as Kölsch, at a gala party. That's like the first time he remember hearing like you play, and we've had like a laugh about it when you played at Beat Me, thinking like, holy shit, like he's gonna be like the next big thing out of Denmark, and like he played at a gala party, and
I used to play some weird shit as Chris Minus, and one of them was with Rune RK and lots of other odd names. I warmed up for Basement Jacks as Chris Minus, lots of different names, and I played at all these weird things locally, obviously, like weddings and shit like that. Weddings are great. If you're a wedding DJ, props to you. That's hard work.
Yeah, like I can't do that.
No.
I like it's proper hard work.
Yeah, and like at cafes and stuff like that, people, they put up a booth in a restaurant and you have to play. It's terrible, but I've done it, and the guys who do it today, you know what? Good for you, man. It's hard work. It's really hard work.
Yeah, I got like for mainstream DJs and like DJs playing at those kind of events.
Yeah.
At weddings and stuff, and cafes and stuff like that. I mean, I got a lot of respect for them because I've done that as well. That's how I got started.
Yeah.
And instead of like, I think I played, the mainstream jobs.
Sure.
Like Friday, Saturday, 8 hours.
There you go.
Each Friday, Saturday. And it almost like killed me at the end because it was like,
so tiring.
Instead of like getting up and being a Monday morning and being like, oh my God, I gotta play on Saturday and I can't wait for it.
You're like, oh shit.
I was like, oh fuck me, I gotta play on Saturday.
Exactly. And again, it's like, I guess there are some people who really love it, and you know what? That's good for you. For me, it was just, I just felt it was so hard work. It was difficult. But the thing is, like playing at bars and cafes and restaurants and galas and God knows what, you really do learn lots of stuff. Yeah. Like when I go out play abroad now, it's like you play 2 hours. It's nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I used to play 10 hours. It's like I don't mind. 2 hours, like, oh, how do I get all the tracks I want to play down to 2 hours? It's so difficult. Every time I'm done like playing a 2 hour set, I'm like, damn it, I should have played that track.
Yeah.
Why didn't I play that track? It would have gone off. And but it's part of the scene at the moment. You just play for 2 hours or 2.5 or 3 if you're lucky. Yeah. If you're really lucky.
Do you think that that's a good or a bad thing? That there aren't these long marathon sets any longer?
I guess I have to be positive about it. So I'll say I'm happy it's like that, because when you actually, like when you see larger names or myself, if I want to play a 5 hour set, which isn't that long, but you can, then it's like a thing.
Yeah, it's become a thing. Like,
so I think I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing when a big DJ will make it a thing to play 8 hours straight. Great. I would love to hear a big DJ play for 8 hours straight. I probably don't want to hear every DJ play 8 hours straight, but the ones who want to play 8 hours straight are really good at it. Like Scream. He'll do his tour where he starts the night and he ends the night. I would like to hear that, but do I want to hear every DJ on the top 100 do that? I don't know if I want to do that.
You're probably right about that.
Some of them are probably really good at 2 hours, and they'll give you one hell of a party. And the good thing about it is you have the warm-up DJs who are local DJs who get a chance to play alongside larger names. I guess it's a positive thing.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
I think it's too easy to say it's a negative thing. It's too easy.
I mean, it probably got like pros and cons in it.
For sure.
But yeah. So you have this budding music career, I'd say.
Let's say that.
And you have a girlfriend.
Yes.
You have a son.
Yes.
And you have a daughter?
No, I have one on the way.
Yeah, on the way. Yeah. Do you know the sex?
A boy.
A boy?
Yeah.
So another boy on the way. And you have a 9-to-5 job.
Yes.
How the fuck do you find time to make music?
Planning, and a very understanding girlfriend.
A very understanding girlfriend.
Yes. So she knew me from way back. We've been together for like what now? Yeah, it's 9 years, 9 years, or 8. Oh gosh, she's gonna kill me.
Just don't show her this.
Yeah, don't show her. No, but she, she knew from the beginning that I wanted to do this. So it's always been like a very natural thing for me to produce music. But it's like there's some things that go hand in hand with it. So one thing is planning. You really have to plan your shit. You have to plan your day. So like the 9 to 5 job is like it's there. You can't plan around that. It's you can't move that around. And I like my day job. It gives me the freedom to produce whatever I want, and it gives me the opportunity to say if there's a gig that I don't want to play for some reason, then I can say I don't want to play that gig, and I'm not financially, what's the word? I'm not financially bound to do everything that everybody wants me to do. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And the other part is, I have a studio set up that's, I came in here with my backpack. My studio is right there.
Oh, so you produce a lot on the go?
Yeah, I produce pretty much only on the go.
Oh, okay.
I produce at work. Like
what kind of gear do you use to produce on the go, like to keep it minimal?
Well, it's the same setup everywhere. I have my laptop, my headphones, not these ones, but they're in there too. My mouse, and then sometimes I'll bring my a MIDI keyboard, small MIDI keyboard from Akai. That's it.
That's it. Oh, okay. Less is more, I guess.
There you go. Yeah. And like I have a studio, but I like with speakers, but I only use my speakers like to do mixing. To like have the idea where the bass is in the spectrum and like trying to figure out. But like I've mixed down, pop tracks and tracks that are signed to big labels on headphones, the ones you're wearing.
Ah, okay.
So it's like when I see other guys like, oh, what kind of speakers do I need to produce better? It's nothing to do with that. It's all about what you have, and do you know your equipment? I know exactly how my tunes have to sound in those headphones. I know exactly how they should sound.
Oh, okay.
I know where my kick drum has to go. I know I can look at the frequencies, but I also know how they sound in my headphones. So they are my reference. So I can always reference back to my headphones.
I have the same problem. Like I have a studio out in Herlev.
Yeah.
And like I rarely go there.
Of course, it's long. It's far away.
It's far away, and like I'd love to spend more time there, but like running Nim Sound and having a girlfriend as well, and
sure.
and having a day job as well, there's just I don't find that much time to do it. And my problem is now that like I used to produce a lot on those speakers, but I've totally forgot how they sound.
Yeah,
but now I know how like these Sennheisers sound.
And you listen to other people's music on them. Yeah. So like if you listen to some techno track, you know exactly how the kick and the high ends have to sound like. So you can always reference back to it. For me, it's like I was thinking about getting a studio far away, but it was like if I have an idea, I want to put it in on paper now. Yeah. Like that's why I bring it to work. Sometimes when if I've finished my lunch before everyone else, I just go and open the laptop and produce. I produced today, my lunch break.
You're producing your lunch break?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, man. I wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, because I get so like, don't you ever like get caught up, like completely caught up, and then like 3 hours after you're like, well, I should probably do something else because this should only have taken like 20 minutes.
Well, I guess like because I've been doing it for so many years, I can switch it on and switch it off. Mm-hmm. So I know exactly when I put my headphones on, I've zoned out. Okay. And as soon as I see that like the time has gone past what I'm supposed to, just take it off, done. Mm-hmm. I work really good under pressure in that sense. So if I know I have studio time for 2 hours, I'll do shit for 1 hour and 45 minutes, and the last 15 minutes I can produce a full track. It's so stupid. It's not very smart, but that's how it works for me.
Yeah. that is kind of stupid, but yeah. But if that's how it goes,
if it works, it works.
Yeah, if it works, it works. I mean, that's one thing I need. Like, I think a lot of like upcoming producers and young producers need to know is that if it works, it works. Yeah, you don't have to like look at other bigger names and try to adapt
exactly.
their production techniques. If it works for you, it works for you, and then that's fine.
The way I see it is like it's building good habits.
Yeah.
So like when you turn on the computer, like don't, you turn off the Wi-Fi. That's one thing.
Yeah.
Just switch it off. It's okay. Just make it into a habit. My habit is like if I'm producing, I'll have something on the TV, some Netflix, just in the background, just so I can see it. That's my thing. I need something just to distract me. Like I'll sit and produce, and I just look over there and see. I used to always have Lord of the Rings going. I have no idea why. It's just like a thing. I have things when I produce. I like having on Lord of the Rings. Just let it go. I used to also produce.
So how many times have you seen Lord of the Rings actually?
Way too many times. I can quote that movie from now until this interview is done. I'll just, yes, my precious. I'll go for it. I'll go for it.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, it's a good movie.
It's an amazing movie.
Yeah. So besides being a Lord of the Rings nerd, like you have recently signed with a management. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why? Like, what benefits does it have?
It's a great question. I'm not sure if I have the correct answer for you there.
No.
It's fairly new. They're called Proper Spicy, just to give a shout out to the management. So I've never had management before. One thing is having a booking agent to like make sure that you get some gigs.
You had that before.
Yes, I still have that. And that makes sense to me. So having a management, I guess it's like, I guess the question is quite, the question is like from an upcoming producer, like what does management mean? And I wouldn't even know how to really explain to you what that is. I'll give you, for me, it's probably different for another person. Mm-hmm. For me, again, as you mentioned, I have a 9-to-5 job. I have a family and everything. So there are a lot of things that I can't do. I don't have time. There's just not enough time in the world for me to do that. So for a management standpoint, they'll say, okay, give me an idea where you want to go, what you want to do, and we'll help you get there. And you focus on what you do, which is produce music. Yeah. So for me, I can just, I'll just feed tracks to our little SoundCloud page for, with my management. And they will look at the tracks and say, okay, these 3 go good together. And they will, help me get contact with some label. Or if they have a label they think is interesting. Yeah. Or if they think, that they'll look at stuff like your social media and see if everything is okay. Does everything look up to date? Does it look cool enough? Does it represent what you are trying to portray? So stuff like that. But I guess it's not the same for everyone because some artists need help in other directions than what I would need. It's like to get in contact with people you probably would never be in contact with. It's kind of like having, for me, it's like a personal assistant. Okay, yeah.
Like, was it you reaching out to them, or did they reach out to you? Like, how do you get signed to a management bureau, and when do you when do you need know?
Okay, when do you know is I would not be able to tell you that because that would be different from everyone. Like,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
because management, so for me, I needed to get hold of a music lawyer for a project. Yeah, and she helped me out, and it was great. And again, I live in Denmark. We're in Denmark right now. So when you're dealing with labels that are abroad, like in the UK, you can't have a local lawyer because the law is different in different countries. Yeah. Per se. Yeah. So when you're UK, you need a lawyer from the UK. So I got a hold of her, and she actually was the one who said, you might need a management to help you out with some of these things. And I was like, okay, do you know someone? And then she said, yeah, I know these 2 guys, Sam and Tristan, and we think, she thinks that they could be, they could probably help me. So I met with them at ADE, Amsterdam Music event. And, we just hit it off, and they understood where I wanted to go. and I understood what they wanted to do and what they could do what they could do for me, and that's pretty much where we are today.
Okay.
But when you need it, I don't know. I guess you'll need it. You'll know.
You'll know when you need it.
Yeah, they'll come to you.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been wondering about that for a little time now. Like,
Sure.
what exactly is it that a management does, and when do you know that you need it, and all that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got a little smarter from it from your answer, but
Sure.
but yeah.
But it's different,
Yeah.
It's like a management for me is probably not the same job they do for Kulsh, or for Scream, or for Nina Kravitz. They all do different things, but I guess they all try to work for the artist in the way the artist wants to move ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
And they will guide them and they'll help them, and like I would call them like a personal assistant plus plus plus.
Okay. Personal assistant plus plus plus.
Yeah, that for me, that's what it is.
Okay. So you sent me some stems way back, I think, like a year ago, if not more.
Sure.
Of a track called Talking to Myself.
Yeah.
You released that track on your own, is that correct?
Yeah.
And now it's then been released on none other than Pete Tong's FFRR label. How is it working with like these massive labels like FFRR?
So that actually goes back to the question with the lawyer. That was when I needed a lawyer.
That was okay.
Yeah. So it happened exactly how you explained it. So I released it myself first, and I was like, I just wanted to put it out. I liked the track. I wanted to put it out, and then suddenly, labels start asking about the track because they can see it's not on a big major. So suddenly, because it gets played on BBC, they react to it. And they started, hey, Chris, we want to use this track. We want to do something with the track. And I have no idea what to answer major labels. It's a totally different game.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, what do I do here? So I actually wrote to like a few people on Facebook, like, hey, I know you've done something with major labels before. What do I need? And they were all like, you need a lawyer. You need a lawyer up. I'm like, okay, who? Because I'm in Denmark, so I just can't, flip the telephone book and find a lawyer. So I had to, find someone that the other guys have been using, and they helped me deal with it. And realistically, the way it worked for me was they came to me and said, do you want to do something on the label? I said, sure. And then the lawyer comes in, or the management. I didn't have management at that time. So if it would have been the management to say like, okay, we'll take it from here, and they will do all the negotiations and everything, and they'll come back to me and say, this is what the label wants to do. And do you want to do it? Yes or no? And if I say, let's say I said, no, I want to do a little bit differently. They'll go back and try and work for what I want.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect example where the lawyer and management actually comes in, because I don't know what rules there are in the UK.
No, of course not. You're a Danish musician.
Yeah, exactly.
That
and
makes sense.
they can throw a contract, 10 pages. I don't understand what it says. I have an idea, but I was trying to read it, and I thought I knew what I was reading. And then when I got a lawyer, she's like, no.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works, buddy. It's like, all right, okay.
All right, I misunderstood that.
Yeah, help me.
Please. No, but yeah, it's just interesting, like, what was it? A Colombian label, a Brazilian label that released your first tracks.
Yeah.
How do you move from releasing on an unknown Colombian label to releasing on Toolroom Records, on Compact, on and on FFRR? I mean, what do you need in order to like go from upcoming to releasing on these established labels? So
one thing
Any
is
tips?
Yes, lots of tips. So one thing is like there's the part of it of an artist development that's purely organic. So that's like, how do you put it? So like when you go from the Colombian label to at one point suddenly it's not organic anymore. You start releasing tracks on smaller labels. The smaller labels, they send promos out to bigger names. The bigger names recognize who you are, and they ask you to do something for their label, and then it just builds organically. And for me, it was I got into Play It Down, and Jesse Rose knows everyone in the business. So as soon as you release with Jesse, other names that are same size as Jesse and bigger are going to recognize your name. And then suddenly they'll ask you, do you want to do a remix? And then you just slowly build it. And at one point, suddenly it's not organic anymore. Then you start thinking, what labels can I release on? Like Compact was organic for me.
No.
I was just producing. And again, I don't, like if you listen to my tunes, I don't produce one kind of sound. I'll go all kinds of, and that's because that's what I want to do. That's what I like. I like listening to compact music, and I like listening to FFR music. And I'll sit down and produce, and I have no control over what's going to happen. I just produce and hope it sounds dope. And then afterwards, I'll look and say, okay, this is compact, or this is Toolroom, this is Defected, this is Celador, whatever, Yeah. And but one point it's going to probably, you have a management, then it's not organic anymore. Then they're going to push it into other directions. They're going to push it into a more professional development.
Yeah.
So I guess, the tip is this trying to produce and just building it up slowly. Release on one track, release on one label, release on the next one. My biggest tip, if I can give anyone a tip, is when you first release on a small label, make sure to get the promo sheet with all the names that have give you, feedback, and then reach out to them. Thanks for giving me feedback on that track. I really appreciate it. And then hopefully if it's a good track, they'll say, you can always say, hey, could I sign on your label? Do you want me to do a remix? You have to do that yourself, in the beginning. You have to do some of that work yourself.
Yeah, I have to do the groundwork.
Exactly.
Yourself, yeah.
There are all some guys that, just burst into the hemisphere and...
Yeah, but they're like the 1%.
Exactly.
They
Everyone else has been grinding. Everybody grinds, know?
I think that's sort of this common misconception that it just happens overnight.
Yeah.
It might look like that when you get one hit.
Sure.
And it just blows up.
Sure.
It might look like it just happened overnight.
Definitely.
But it's like you've been producing since 2007.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen overnight.
No, it didn't. And it's the same like when you look at, you'll speak with people and say, oh, this guy, he's just so crazy on Facebook and Instagram. He's just so nuts. It's just so natural. When they get that big, there's definitely some like persona going on there, but everything is controlled. You have management, you have a PR agent, you have everything is professional. There's nobody in the top 100 resident advisor that is winging it.
No, that's just hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah, doesn't happen. They'll say, let's see what happens, but I would put my career on. No, I wouldn't do that. I would bet something to make that probably doesn't happen.
They have a team behind them.
It's
definitely.
super professional. Yeah. And when you go to ADE and you look who's there and you meet people, oh, I'm this guy's management. Like, what? He has management? Some people you don't even imagine have management or a PR agent. You just think it's them doing everything, and it's just not.
No, I think it takes away, and that might be like what my opinion of a management is. Like, take away like everything else. Just let the artist focus on the music.
Yeah,
isn't that like?
Well, I guess let's take someone like. I hope I don't say anything wrong, but like let's take Seth Troxler.
Yeah,
a super huge personality in the business. I could imagine his management, when he finally got a management at what point, they looked at him and said, okay, your personality is really strong. We're just going to let you go with that, but we're just going to help you use that personality to get more attention on yourself.
Yeah.
If you keep making dope music and keep playing amazing sets, we'll make everything fit together into one solid product.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I could imagine, imagine, because it's not like Swedish House Mafia where it's really probably even like that's a freaking product. You know what I mean?
That's a massive machinery.
Exactly. Take Fisher.
Yeah.
He blew up. There's definitely some management team going on there, some PR agent, but he is who he is, and they just exploit that part of him, and that's
okay. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I've been wanting to talk to you about because you have this amazing ability
Yeah.
to create these 909 rides and hats
Yeah.
that have this certain air
Yeah.
to them.
Yes.
And this might get a little bit nerdy. How do you do it? Because I've tried to like do it myself,
Yeah.
and it, to be honest, it sounds like shit.
Okay. So for the open hi-hat, I have one sample.
And one you have one sample.
I have
like
one
in your
sample.
library.
Yeah, that I've been looking through all my samples, and I hope I don't offend any producers. I've been like trying to rip off, like if there's like a break where there's only there's an open hi-hat, I would try like see if I can take it out of the track and put it into my system and see if I can use that. So today I have like 4 open hats. I have 5 rides, like samples that I would always go back to. And then I will probably, put some compressors on it or something just to make it fill a little bit more. So like the rides, I do something very simple. I use S1 from Waves.
Yeah.
It's like a what do you call it? Imager to give it more space.
Yeah.
I put that on top and just widen the shit out of it. So it's always in the background.
Is it that simple?
It's that simple.
Fuck.
Again, it's like the references, you find your thing. Like for the last 20 tracks, I have probably used 3 different kicks.
So you don't have that many samples in your library?
No.
Not
when it comes to the basics.
Do you think this sort of minimalist approach to samples, do you think that helps like generate your sound or generate like a certain vibe to your
I've never thought of it, but I think I've done it that way mostly because, as we spoke before, sometimes I only have 30 minutes to make a track because I'll open up on, at work. I can't spend time trying to figure out the perfect kick. So I have my 5 kicks that I just like, okay, this fits with the bass.
Yeah.
Because the bass and the kick have to match. Is it a long kick or is it a short kick? Okay, this bass is a really fat bass. I'll probably use a short kick, and then I'll put that on it. And then I just I know exactly what kick I need to use. So when I have like longer sessions, in my studio where I can like really get really nerdy, I'll probably add another kick to my my library of basics. Then I'll that kick, that's really dope, and then I'll add one more. But if it works, it works, And if like I have one kick that I've used for a lot of tracks on like for example the compact release Hard Times, I EQ'd the shit out of that kick. But I knew like the foundation of that kick was so solid and it just sounded so good in my speakers. It's like, okay, I need to take the high end more off so it got a little bit more like muffled. And then I just used it and just the kick, because normally I hear like upcomings, we can't really get the kick to work. Spend a week, get your 5 kicks that you just really love that fits like the type of tracks you make. Just stick with it. Just try and work with that. And if you don't feel it works, find some new kicks. If you need a different open hi-hat, go find something that fits what sounds good to you, and then just put it in a little folder. And you always have I have my folder's called VIPs.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have VIPs kicks, VIP snares, and claps. I love claps. I have a hard time doing snares. Snares are just so weird for me.
The same thing here.
Yeah, they can sound so stupid, and I'm like, oh god, screw it.
Yeah.
And rides, and then a few perks, but that's pretty much it. I keep it fairly basic.
Do you have the same minimalist approach to synthesizers and like, I don't know if you use presets in your synthesizers or
a few. My computer is from 2012, so I can't update anymore. So
have you thought about getting a new computer?
I did actually. Yeah. I went to the computer guy who was like, "This is like one of the last cool MacBooks or Apple computers. Do not sell this one. I will update the shit out of it every time you need me to, but do not sell it and do not get a new one. I'm like, okay.
I'll do.
Yeah,
I'll do as you tell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the whole point is, I am not very technical. If you put me in a room with 20 hardware synths, I wouldn't know what to do. I'll play chords for you, but all that shit, I don't know what to do with it. I keep it very simple. I use Ace from UA. It's like a VST or AU, whatever you call it, and I've pretty much used that since like 5 years now. Haven't done anything besides that, and Contact 5 maybe I've used, right, to like sample the synth sounds, like the leads. I'll probably do that.
Yeah, because for me, I mean, I'm beginning to dive into more of a minimalist approach towards producing, because I think sometimes it can be a bit stifling having like gigabytes upon gigabytes upon gigabytes of presets and samples, and you have 20 different VSTs. And you have, like, it can be sort of stifling a little bit. And for me, I'm starting to figure out like how can I do a very minimalist approach towards this. Have you produced in your sample banks? Like, have you produced any of your samples yourself? Like, been sitting with a synthesizer and producing kick drums, for example? No, you don't do that.
No, I don't have time for that shit. No, but that's I have a rule for myself that if I can listen, if I have half an hour, I'll do like an 8-bar loop, and if I can listen to it for more than 5 minutes, I'll save it and I'll go to the next project. I can always go back to it because I know the groove or the idea is really dope.
Yeah.
But I would never sit with one track, like an 8-bar loop, and just like, oh, this synth doesn't work for me. If it doesn't work for me, it's not going to work for me.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember talking to Pleasurecraft 2 years ago or something like that. And he told me, and I asked him, like, what's the best advice you can give for like upcoming producers and producers in general. And I thought it was something like, well, you gotta have this VST, or you gotta have this, or you gotta do that, or something like that. And it was fairly simple. It was recognize when an idea is shit.
Yeah.
And throw it away.
Exactly. I would completely agree.
And I really, really like that because it helped me like go back into a lot of my tracks and be like,
this is not going to work.
This is not going to work.
No, exactly.
It's a shit idea. I mean,
that's exactly my point.
Throw it away. Yeah. It might be like wonderful in your head, but like it doesn't work in real life.
It's the same when building the track. If you got that 8-bar loop that's just like, oh, this is good shit. Mm-hmm. If you build it and like, oh, okay, it's 3 minutes long, that's not long enough, and it's kind of boring now, throw it away. Get rid of it. It's not going to work. Put it in the folder. I have a folder with like shit I don't want to work on. But I'm not going to throw it away because...
No, you should definitely bounce the stems, and it might...
I'm a hoarder, I'm just it's going to stay there. I'm never going to look at it. Let's be honest. I'm never going to go into that folder.
No, I have a folder like that, and I have tracks from like 2010, I think. And I'm not going to...
You're not going to look at it.
No.
You're really not.
I should probably delete it, but like I can't get myself to do it.
No, you created it. So again, I guess the minimal, way of looking at it was not something I did intentionally, but more it was a necessity.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would love to be able to sit all day for 8 hours and find the perfect hi-hat. But end of the day, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who's going to listen? Who's going to listen and say, that hi-hat in that track is bullshit. That's terrible. Well, somebody probably might, but...
Yeah. But the majority is not going to...
That person who thinks that hi-hat is shit is probably not going to like my tracks anyway.
No.
So...
I mean, it's the same thing with the whole, like, reissue of the 808 from Roland and the whole... Behringer doing their reissue of or mocks of like 909s and 808s and all those vintage synths, and like all these synth experts comes out and all like, oh, it doesn't exactly sound like an 808.
God.
But there's like a main thing here is, in my opinion, is that you don't really want it to sound like an 808 because
No.
the 808 has been used
So many
a
times.
million fucking times.
And again, if Kink plays with it and makes it sound dope, well, if Kink does it, then fine.
Yeah. And
I vouch for that.
And this is club music as well. So, I mean, if you're standing
Exactly.
at a loud system and you're having a party and
Sure,
the time of
sure.
your life, you're not really going to be like, hey, that sounds like the Behringer version.
And a shit track made out of 808 or 909 is still a shit track.
Yeah.
If
true.
if it's a dope track you made out of 909, well, good shit. It's not the 909 that made it dope. You made it dope,
Yeah.
not the 909. Like if some 13-year-old made it in Ableton or in Fruity Loops, made a dope track, he made a dope track. Then I don't care if it's in Fruity Loops or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. It matters what came out of your idea. And if that's dope, it's dope.
All right, Christian, I think we are almost through. Well, that's a lie, but we're running out of time.
Sure, that's
I still have a lot of questions, so you got to come back some other day.
Sure, let's
if you'd
do
like to. I can't really say that this is a tradition here on the show, since this is the very first episode.
We'll make traditions.
Yes, hopefully this will become a tradition.
Excellent.
But I have 3 quick questions for you.
Okay.
And you have to answer them as quick as you can.
Okay, go.
Go? Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is your favorite plugin at the moment and why?
Isotope Ozone.
Isotope Ozone.
Yeah. And why? Because it's just super easy. Super easy, and you can make boring loops sound amazing really quickly. Just pressing some presets.
Wonderful answer.
There you go.
Thank you. What did you wish you knew back when you first got started in the music industry?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No, I actually have no. What did I wish I knew? Oh, there are things I would do differently, but nothing. I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't do anything differently.
No?
This is the path. This is the way I got here, and everything is. I don't think I would be able to do anything differently if I knew something else. I probably maybe wouldn't have released some tracks,
Yeah?
but on the other hand, I know some people really like some of the tracks that I am not fond of anymore, and that's just a positive thing.
That is actually, I haven't thought about that, but that is actually a very deep question.
Yeah, it is. I have no idea what if
It's a hard question.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't. If somebody told me something from the beginning, would it have changed anything I would have done? No, because I've always had lots of help from like Noir or Jesse, and they gave me all the advice I needed. There was one advice from Jesse Rose that always stuck with me: don't be an asshole.
That's a brilliant advice.
That's brilliant advice. And
Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. But I've never been an asshole, so I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
It comes natural to you.
Exactly. Just be a complete dick all the time. Oh, that's what's wrong.
That's okay.
Makes sense.
All right. Yeah, that's actually sort of the third question as well. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given? It doesn't have to be music related.
Best advice. I'm not sure who I got this from. Maybe my father. He told me, everyone has a story to tell. You just have to take time to listen.
That's wonderful advice.
So
your dad's a smart man.
I think it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. I've always,
we're going to credit your dad.
Let's
for this
do that.
one.
Let's do that. But I've always stuck with it. You always, especially when you go and, go play at gigs where you don't know anyone. Well, if you just, listen to people and talk with them, and everybody has a story. Sometimes it's a good story. Sometimes it's a shit story.
Yeah.
And shit stories need to be listened to too sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to listen to shit stories, but
Exactly.
But for the most part, I think that most people have an interesting story if you take the time to
No,
actually
but like a
listen
shit
to it.
story as in a negative story. It could be like a really, depressing story, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's 3:00 at night. I'm really drunk. But if you want to tell me your depressing story, well, let's go for it. You clearly need to talk about it. So let's go. And I guess, it's like everything is online, especially when you're like doing music, like you and me in Copenhagen, there's lots of people who are interested in our music and what we do from abroad. It's really important when you actually get to meet them, you have to take time to listen and talk to people and hear what they have to say and the questions they have.
That's a good answer. Wonderful. Boom, mic drop.
Yeah.
No, but
Don't
drop the mics. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Excellent.
Can you let people know where they can hook up with you online?
Yeah, I probably don't remember all the correct...
We're going to link in the description.
Excellent. Below, yeah. They're all down here, or whatever camera. The description is down there. No, they can link me on Facebook. I have my page there, and on SoundCloud and Instagram.
Those are the primary...
and SoundCloud.
What about Twitter? Do you use that?
I have Twitter, but I honestly don't use it. I just mostly use it to look at other DJs complain. Yeah,
that's what I use it for as well. I don't get it.
No.
Well, that's a whole nother talk.
It's not very Danish, Twitter. It's like the only Danish people on Twitter are politicians.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And they complain a lot too. So...
Well, does politicians do anything else?
Yeah, exactly. I think I've only used it to complain, to businesses. That's
what you use it for?
That's the only thing I've ever used Twitter for.
Do you then have like an official Twitter for Christian Nielsen official?
No, everything is just there.
So you complain via your official musical brand, Christian Nielsen.
Yes. Turkish Airlines. They got shit from me on Twitter. It didn't work, but whatever. I was like, okay, if everyone else does it, I can do it. You guys suck. Suck my balls. No, I didn't write that, but it was something close to that.
All right, Christian, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
I really enjoyed my conversation with Christian Nielsen. He is such a genuine nice guy, and he has this rare ability to make you feel comfortable in his presence. I really enjoyed his take on accidentally creating a minimalist approach to producing and how this has helped him create more tracks and stay more productive. And I really do think that this also helped him shape his own style and sound. Now, once again, if you want to support us, like us on Facebook, Instagram, and all that jazz, and subscribe to YouTube, iTunes, and on Spotify. Yeah. That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in and watching and listening. It is truly appreciated. And remember to keep at it and stay passionate. I will see you when I see you. Bye.